I'm so grateful that you've, provided this opportunity for us to talk about this. This is important information that people need to have.
Yes, and with all the, new stresses that are on us in the modern era, I would imagine that our hand analysis or handprints could be much different than people's handprints back in history, even 100 years ago. I think we're going to get into that probably in the next hour to kind of get the idea of how, the human being has progressed throughout all this period of time as well.
That sounds fun. And we got some celebrity prints to look at, including yours.
Wonderful. Okay. Hang on, folks. We will be back in 2 minutes.
Which is a professional group of highly educated UFO slash paranormal field investigators.
You're listening to The Paranormal Lawyer on Night Dreams Talk Radio.
Yes, and we are back, folks. Thank you for hanging in there with us on this great show with Michelyn Gjurasic. And we are talking about scientific hand analysis. Are you there, Michelyn, as well?
I'm here. I'm so happy to be here.
Okay. Well, so it hasn't been so bad so far, right?
Well, I was a little curious how we were going to fill this time, but I realized that I've been studying this stuff for a long time, and I've got a lot of information. I could probably talk for hours and hours and hours about hands.
Yes, you could. I know for sure. That's why I wasn't worried at all. Matter of fact, we are now going to get into some really exciting stuff, including maybe going over some of the information you can glean from my handprints, possibly.
Ooh, I promise to be nice.
Oh, you know what? And that brings up a point. Do you have to get people to sign a little waiver or anything before you start the process of kind of explaining to them what you see in the markers of their hands?
Well, I do get a waiver for EFT if there's any tapping that's going to be done because it can be, an emotional experience. Reading hands can also be an emotional experience, but I don't have them sign any waivers for that unless I'm going to use their information publicly in some way. Then I would get their permission for that.
Well, then this is my verbal waiver for you to be able to explain to the folks out there what you found out in my very own handprints.
Well, okay. First of all, you have a mercury marking in your hand. So we've talked about Mercury as being the pinky finger in the hands.
Right.
And there are a certain subset of hand markings that we call gift markers. And they're super loaded potential talent markers in the hands. And you have one of those. In fact, you have a couple of those. So one of them is the healer marking. And it used to be called the medical stigmata in old-style palmistry. But as Richard Unger started working with it, he changed it to more accurately reflect what it does and what it allows the person to be. And we call it the gifted healer.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah. So how does that hit you, that you're a gifted healer?
Well, I don't know if that means healing people of certain ailments, or just kind of like a person that likes to, make things well. I don't know. What does that mean?
Well, there are some doctors that have this marking. There are some nurses. There are some hand analysts. And there are some radio show hosts, apparently, that have this marking. So it's not an indication that you're a medical professional and that you're going to, cure cancer or the common cold at all.
Yeah.
But if you remember what I said Mercury signifies, the pinky finger is all about communication.
Got it. Yeah.
So in terms of hand analysis, this gift marking is a communication gift. It's a relating gift. It is an exchange gift. It's really an intimacy gift.
Ooh,
so
I like
it. People who have the gifted healer marking have a potential. Now, again, I can't tell you anything to do with time in your hand. So I don't know if you're using your gift, or if you're just now getting comfortable with it, or if it's new for you. But I can tell you that the energy of the healer and the processes that a healer goes through, and the things that a healer struggles with, and the things that a healer is really gifted at, these are all going to be present in your life, whether you hang a shingle as a quote unquote healer or not.
Yeah.
So the gifted healer is really somebody who can talk to people.
Oh,
listen.
my goodness. Michelyn, this is really a deja vu for me, just the fact that you mentioned this, because my whole life is pretty much an open book. Everyone will know, but I'm the fixer guy. I always want to make things better, make people be able to do things better, or relate to folks. So that's kind of me. I'm a fixer. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, the gifted healer person finds that people seek them out. They are the resident at the water cooler. They're the ones that hang out, and people come to them with their problems. And it might even be a stranger in the grocery store who just sees a certain look in your eyes, or they just feel something in your presence that makes them comfortable and want to share. And,
wow.
And I have this marking in my hands too, and so I do get that. I get people, strangers, coming up to me and talking to me, and after just a few seconds they're telling me things that they've never told anybody else in their entire life. And it's a real privilege, for me to hear these stories.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that I have a pill. I don't have a pill for that. I don't have a cure for that. But I can listen. I can help you feel safe enough. And by extension, Mike, you're doing this with people, and you may not even be aware of it, but you can help people feel safe enough that they can tell you some of their hardest things. They can talk to you about some of their deepest, darkest secrets, and know that it's going to be okay. And what happens when someone feels okay about telling their deepest, darkest secrets? They heal. They feel better. Their load is lightened. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the act of listening is really powerful in itself.
Thank you for that, Michelyn. That is just awesome. and you don't know how many times over the 30 years that I've been practicing law and more, that I get the statement from a client who comes in with a stressful legal matter that they need to discuss, and they sit down and we talk, and we have an initial office consultation, and they go away from that consultation saying, "Oh, I feel so much better. At least I've been able to talk this thing out, and I have maybe a plan now on how to deal with it." But yeah, you're right. The idea that even yourself and I, when we worked together, when we were doing our television show back in the old days, I think that was present between the two of us. That was really a very pleasurable experience back then.
It was. I think people liked hanging out with us in that project that we were doing, because there was an energy of just ease and fun, and everything's okay, and it's all going to be all right. That we bring to the equation.
Yeah. And the motto that we had, I remember, was, "Well, we just got to make it fun."
Check.
That's what I said when I sent you up in that airplane to jump out, you know.
Oh yeah. Go up there, Michelyn, and risk your life jumping out of an airplane. You go have fun, and I'll stand down here on the ground and watch.
Just have fun, you know.
We did have a lot of fun.
Yeah, Northwest Magazine we're talking about, if you just joined us. But it was the old television series out here in the Pacific Northwest where we did some really phenomenal, reports from the field, and some of it in the air. But now that you have my life story in front of you with my handprints, what else can you tell me? And go ahead and be tough on me if you need.
Be tough. Okay. Well, isn't it interesting that I looked at your fingerprints, and your life purpose, remember, is one of the themes that we can identify from fingerprints. This is the place that when you're in it, your life makes sense. So this is the definition of life purpose. Mm-hmm. It's not what you do. It's not a specific job, but it's how you do the things you do, and it's the intention that you have when you're doing the things that you do. And it's so interesting to me. I tell you, this stuff, it blows me away. Even as I wonder, how does this work? I'm just amazed that it doesn't really matter how it works, because it works. Uh-huh. Your life purpose is to be visible.
Wonderful. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So
your
what is
life
that?
Purpose? It's to be on stage.
Oh man, is that right on or what, Michelyn? You know me better than most people. Yeah.
To be in the spotlight. Oh my gosh. Yeah, to be your own personal sun, to just shine your light out. And there are so many cool things about this purpose. But one of the really cool things is that it's not just about being in front of other people, or having a radio show, or having a TV show, or being on a lawyer, or being on a council or something like that, where you're just in front of other people for the sake of being in front of them. Mm-hmm. The purpose of being in front of them is it gives you an opportunity to share from the heart.
Yeah.
To share who you really are. And so the more authentic and vulnerable and real that you can be when you're showing yourself to other people, the more you activate this life purpose energy in your life, and the more things are going to make sense, and the more things are going to fall into place, and you're going to feel like, wow, my life matters. I understand why I'm here. So it's not a shallow type of look at me, although that's part of the teeter-totter experience that I mentioned earlier, that can be part of it. But when we're